I want to talk with you a little bit today about the idea of traditions. Tradition is usually a word that's associated with holidays, at least for me. When I think about traditions, I think about how in my family it's tradition on Christmas morning that we go and give my dad a back rub before we go down and open presents. It's one of his favorite traditions. It's kind of morphed into one of mine. It's just the way we kick off the holiday in my house, which is a little bit weird, but you'll have your Christmas traditions, you have your birthday traditions or other holidays or special events that you celebrate, whether you celebrate holidays or not. There are certain things that are just traditions that you celebrate and follow through on, right? You can think of some. But what about traditions that maybe aren't so great? One of the things that I find particularly interesting about this book is that for a lot of people, they were in the middle of kind of a tradition of thought and behavior that people didn't really realize was bad until it was pointed out to them that it was bad. And even when it was pointed out to them that it was bad, as you can see with Melba's classmates, some of them didn't quite see it yet. They didn't really understand that it was bad yet. So I want you to think about some of the social traditions or behavioral traditions that exist in our society today that maybe need to change a little bit. I'm not talking about holidays necessarily. I'm not even talking exactly about, say, maybe in your family you eat a particular, maybe you eat ham for Christmas. You really wish you could eat turkey instead. I don't want to think about stuff like that. I want to think about cultural attitudes, behaviors, ideas, that you think maybe need a little bit of adjustment. Consider to yourself what traditions that a society has need to be broken. You might also consider what traditions does society have that need to be upheld. How do we preserve the good things about humankind and the good things about the way we help each other and are nice to each other without sacrificing other moral duties, just considering traditions and how they interact with society. The other question I have for you is, how does change actually get instigated? Especially when you've got a tradition like this. When we talked at the beginning of this book about how the South was in a particularly awkward position after the Civil War, and that they've been in this kind of economic depression for a very, very long time. The attitude that started the South to begin with, the ideas and attitudes on slavery, they've existed in this country in this part of the country for a very, very long time. Instigating that change is difficult to do. So how do you instigate change when that change is breaking a tradition that is particularly steadfast in the mind or attitude of a person? Lots of big questions with not very many simple answers. This is a good question, I think, or a good video, I think, to talk about with your family, considering the traditions that you value, considering the cultures that you value, and the things that you can do to help make the world a better place, or by either instigating something good or by changing something not so good.